What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous, most toxic black man on the internet, and I'm black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, first of all, let me apologize for even doing this video because I really don't even want to do it, but I feel it is pertinent because we have to understand how to avoid nonsense like this. And what I'm going to do this video about is just the basically asking just why do we even have to listen to anything that Kanye West says? Kanye West is not an authority on anything. He self admitted that he doesn't read books. He goes over and over again how he doesn't listen to anybody. You know, he's an egomaniac. So he feels that because he was successful at making music, not the greatest music, mind you, he wasn't like he was like composing with orchestras or writing down actual music and notes and stuff like that, but just making beats and getting good samples from art that had already been created. He feels that he knows everything because he became successful at doing that, and he was able to get the nastiest whore ever to grace Hollywood to be his wife, and he had children with her. So this guy thinks he can accomplish anything and do anything. But the truth of the matter is, he is a very minuscule human being in mind and in spirit, and he's very fragile. Okay, he's someone like he's like a very spoiled child who always needs attention. He's like but and some parts of him is almost kind of like a bully. Like, you know how the classic school bully who will just keep pushing and picking on people or just running their mouth or always teasing somebody. But if you say one little thing about them, you'll break them in pieces. That's what Kanye West is like. Okay, he's not someone who we really should be taking any value in anything that they say. But because he's famous, that's the only reason people listen to him. And there are other people that listen to him because they're fans of not even his new music, but his old music. You know what I'm saying? So they were once fans of his. So now they think because he made good music a long time ago, he must have something of value to say. And the truth is, he doesn't. Okay? You don't have to listen to this person. Like, I get really annoyed when I see people either making videos or putting a question out there. Anytime Kanye West does something or says something, there are people out there who have to debate about it. There's nothing to debate about. Kanye West is an idiot and a buffoon, and he's very much a coon at that. There's really nothing we have to debate about. Okay, like, I always see people, anytime Kanye West does something or says something, I see people always do like well, if you look at what he said this way, or if you kind of think about it this way, he was right. Or, if you kind of think about what someone else said, it kind of matches what Kanye said. They said the same thing. Or, if you add the one and carry the two, and if you go back in time and do this, Kanye West, what he said makes sense. So if you have to always do that, if you always got to go above and beyond and apply astrophysics and find these outlandish quotes by people in the past to justify what Kanye says all the time, then that means what he's saying is a bunch of bullshit. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook, and every once in a while he'll grab onto something that someone else said that was right. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to do all these mental flip flops to justify everything he says and does, then that just means there's something wrong with you. That at some point you have to admit that this person you're idolizing is crazy, and you're just regurgitating what he says, and you always want to agree with him. I would have more respect for people if they just came out and said, you know what, I'm a fan of Kanye West. I'm a fan of his music. I like the fact that he married this nasty whore, and that he was able to get a girl like that and have children with her. I'm proud of him for doing that. And he makes these corny ass clothes and shitty shoes and whatnot. I like that. And so whatever he says, I'm going to believe that. Like, I would have more respect for you if you just came out and said that. You don't have to go above and beyond and look up obscure passages in old books to try to justify what he says. You don't have to try to find some political philosopher or some politician who somewhat agrees with the bullshit that comes out of Kanye West's mouth to agree with him. Just say, look, I'm a fan and I believe everything that comes out of this man's mouth. Just say that. Just say that. At least I can accept that. I can understand that. But I cannot understand that every time this fool buffoon says or does something, it's always you gotta find a way to justify it. Now, his recent shenanigans where him and that coonette Candace Owens were wearing the White Lives Matter T-shirts. See, that stuff like that is just trying to get attention. Okay, is half, we're two buffoonish, coonish Negroes, and the only way we can be popular is to get attention for stupid stuff like that. And the second half of it is these are also two people who worship at the altar of white folks. They like to fondle and play around with white genitalia. So they want to make sure that they can make white people feel good about whatever nonsense white people have come up with. White folks love to have a Negro that fondles their genitalia and makes them feel good about their own racism, white supremacy, and bullshit. So they love having Negroes like that around. And Kanye West and Candace Owens have partially become successful because of that. Because they do like to fondle white genitalia, okay, and regurgitate white talking points and whatnot. So, that's all it is. And, a lot of people were saying, well, he's somewhat justified because he's right about Black Lives Matter being a scam. The organization Black Lives Matter is a liberal front for the LGBT community. Okay, we all know that. The problem is when you just make an overall statement talking about Black Lives Matter is a scam. Basically, they're saying when white people say that, they're not talking about the organization Black Lives Matter. They're talking about they want to be able to justify killing black people and not having to care about it. That's what they're talking about. Okay? And these coons and coonettes who support that type of nonsense and regurgitate that type of rhetoric, that's all they're doing is giving white people an excuse to say we don't give a damn if a black child is murdered by the police or if a black person is just sitting in their house and gets shot by the police for no reason, or if a white psychopath walks into a supermarket and kills a bunch of black people. We don't want to have to care about these N-words because we don't like them anyway. They're only here to entertain us and for us to feel better about ourselves by comparing ourselves to. So, we don't care about them or their lives. We like to be able to have the authority and the leisure just to kill them whenever we feel like it. That's what it is. Okay? And there's no other way to play it, or you're not going to convince me of anything else. If white people were so obsessed with the group Black Lives Matter, they would have shut the thing down years ago. But see, white supremacy likes to play both sides of the argument. So you got liberal white supremacists propping up Black Lives Matter, and then you got conservative white supremacists condemning the group and the saying Black Lives Matter over and over again is there just to cause chaos and confusion. Okay, so I don't get into either side of that ridiculous debate, and I can actually think for myself and look at a situation and know what was really going on without having to take the side of either these liberal assholes or these conservatives or their little coons and coonettes. So, you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. Once again, don't ever try to get me into a debate about is Kanye West right or wrong. That Kanye West is a confused coon. All right? That's all he is. And there's nothing of value that comes out of his mouth. Once again, the music he produced was even decent was years ago. He doesn't produce any music now, and anytime he opens his mouth about politics, relationships, or whatever, it's always, sucking off white folks but then he also wants to turn around and complain when white folks kick his ass to the curb. You know, when he got banned recently from Instagram, he was whining and complaining that, you know, Mark Zuckerberg used to be his N-word, his homeboy. Well, Negro, if that's your homeboy and you think that these elites love you, go stay with them and be around them. Don't involve us in anything. If you left the black community, if you graduated from being black and you're just Kanye, go be that, go do that. Stay over there and let them handle you how they want to handle you. I'm not coming to your defense for your buffoonery. Anyway, you guys let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on these devils' back.